Thank you for tuning in. This is another video of the difference between a Class B and a Class A CDL. So, if you saw the first one, you can tell I was multitasking. I mean, of course, I was driving, obviously, but I had to think about where to go. I was gonna stop at the store first before I head back home. Yada yada. So, it's not fair if I'm talking about this and yet I'm not able to fully break down things if I sound more of like I'm in a ranting type of phase, or it was just more personal than anything. So I'm going to go over this one more time, but just a little bit different because I still left some pretty critical information on the first video. And if you hear that crying in the background, that's just my kids. Yes, I'm a father of 3 and I have babies. All right, so I need you to consider that because I am married and I was a bus driver for almost 4 years. That's how long I've had my Class B. I'm in school right now to get my Class A. And people are going to be wondering, like, okay, now this is where it gets pretty juicy because you're wondering what's the pay structure, the life balance, job insecurity, the benefits. So I got into busing because I love the idea of serving the public. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're well dressed, depending what kind of company you're working for. You always want to come in well dressed. You come in on time. You are self manageable. You're reliable. You're dependable, and you're safety conscious. Meaning that the equipment, which means the vehicles you're going to be taking out, you have to take care of them, and you got to bring them back on time. So Class A has a variety of things going on. It's not just driving a big tractor trailer. You can drive a semi tractor trailer. I'm still trying to get my words together. I'm sorry. Basically, you could drive a variety of vehicles. The Class A license with your air brake endorsement, passenger, tanker, combinations, doubles, triples, and especially hazmat. You have all that under your belt, opportunities will open up for you. However, there's a catch that a lot of people don't know about. When you're thinking about big bucks, you're thinking about a long-term career, and you're thinking about moving into the Class A world. You know, you're driving the tractor trailer, you're hauling hazmat items. Most of those places, companies like Airgas, Prax Air, anything that has to do with transporting chemicals or anything dangerous, they want to see at least 1 year of good commercial driving. Okay, not just 1 year of safe driving in your own car. We're talking about 1 good year. And it's not just 1 good year of safe driving in a commercial vehicle. We're talking about 1 good year driving for a reputable company. Because they're gonna want to call this company and verify your employment status with them. So that's not always the case with everybody, because there are some individuals who do get lucky. And there is a saying that's pretty true. It depends who you know. So that's the other thing. In the bus world, in the bus world, it only requires a Class B, passenger and air brake endorsement. Now, when I trained and studied for the Class B and for those 2 endorsements, it was intense because a lot of these companies that will hire you and you've never done commercial driving, you've never drove a bus, you never had to do anything in that sense. As long as you don't have felonies and as long as you're clean and you have a clean DMV record, They'll hire you and they'll train you and they'll pay you at the same time. I heard that there's a lot of companies that do that for the Class A, but this is where it's really going to be the difference, and this is where I want you to pay attention. Remember, I told you I'm a father of 3 little kids and I'm married. Okay, the struggle is real. So when you get into busing, when you pass all your training, they're going to give you a schedule or not. You're going to be put under what's called a oh gosh, I forgot what's the term. When it comes back I'll say it, okay? But you're basically going to be that person who's going to stand by. They're going to tell you when to come in, and you're going to be staying at your station for a certain amount of time until they tell you, okay, we have an assignment for you, and go out and take it. A lot of times, those are the things that you don't have a choice because you're trying to really just earn your money, you're trying to earn your experience, and you have to hang in there until you finally get your own routes, right? In the Class A world, it's pretty much the same thing, but you also get put under a certain classified, like a specific type of position, because you're going to be put under a contract with a company, especially if you have never had any experience. If you've never had any experience and you're getting your Class A for the first time, a company will hire you, will train you, and will pay for you. I'm sorry, they'll pay you to go to training. And a lot of times the paychecks for a trainee, it's not really something to brag about. It's actually pretty pathetic if you ask me. Okay, so when you pass the training for the Class A, you're with a company like Swift or what's the other one? CR England. You can name a bunch of others. You're going to be put under a contract, and that contract says you're going to have to stay with this company for a certain amount of time to pay off for the training that they gave you, and you have no choice but to go out on the road with somebody, half the times, with somebody who you don't even know, or unless you get lucky and you select somebody who you get along with, and you're going to be gone. Imagine me going through all that just to get my Class A license, thinking I'm going to do this because there's a lifelong career. I have been stuck inside the house during the pandemic since March. This is October 15 right now, so it's about 8 months. I have been taking care of my kids. I've been trying to make sure that my oldest child is in her online class, and my 2 other little babies, they need attention. And because of the situation right now, you're trying to be careful. You can't really send them out to a babysitting location, even if it has to, even if it means you have to go out of your way to pay out of pocket and kind of risk their health, their lives, if someone at that babysitting house might carry the coronavirus. So as a father who has been stuck here every day, and I've experienced the hardship of what a parent goes through when they're doing all this by themselves. So times like this makes me think I should just stick with busing. The busing, most companies don't really pay the most. Actually, a lot of bus companies don't really pay as they don't really give you a top wage that matches a top wage of a truck driver. The top wage here in California for a bus driver is about $29. And you have to be with that company for at least 5-6 years to reach that top wage. Truck drivers, from what I've heard, there are really good companies. And remember, like what I said earlier, that hazmat. There are some really good hazmat companies that pay the most. There are other companies as well that don't really have the highest top wage, but because you're going to be over the road, or they have so many hours, and they're willing to give you like these 12-hour shifts for 5-6 days straight. I know I have to keep in mind about the federal hours and stuff like that. So you're making buku money, but you're working your butt off. You're working your butt off, and remember, you still have to deal with traffic. You're on a freeway. You're still on city streets, and you're carrying a load that weighs up to 80,000 pounds. That's not the same to say about a bus. A bus weighs less, and a bus is shaped and constructed to maneuver in and out of even like the smallest streets. That's not to say that you can't do that with a big tractor trailer, but you still have to be very careful where you're driving. So the bus life will definitely afford you some type of life balance. I don't care what drivers have to say. I have been at least in 3 different bus companies. And I'm going to tell you why I did that. Because the first 2, I just didn't really quite understand why I had to be thrown around. There was like certain schedules, and one really didn't pay that much, and it was just throwing me all around. So I got into another one that paid just as much as my first one did, and it had a very stable schedule, and it had a lot more flexibility, but it didn't offer benefits. So I got into another one that actually gave me all, like, the best of both worlds, which I just mentioned, but there was just some things that really rubbed me the wrong way, and I did not see a career on the third company. Like, I didn't really see myself in a long distance, as you would want to say. So it doesn't look right on your resume. I'm going to tell you that right now, and that's where I can admit my faults. However, thankfully, a lot of these companies don't really mind much the fact that I've jumped around from company to company, as long as I have no felonies, my DMV record is clean, and I still have the experience, and that my driver's license is still active. So, all right, sweetie. Okay. So, bus companies still offer everything that you need. Bus companies may not have the highest top wage, but you have to think about your circumstances. So the Class A license is going to offer you so much opportunities, so much more. You can even get into busing with a Class A license as long as you have your passenger and air brake endorsement. Not a biggie. But with the Class A, you have to pay somehow, even if it's not out of pocket, or you would have to get into a contract. With a Class B, you could get hired by a company that will train you, and once you get your Class B license, you get to go out on a road, meaning you get to start working and coming in and picking up your bus and start serving the public. A month, 2, 3 months go by. If you don't like your job, you don't really agree with everything about that structure, you could just bounce. put in your resignation letter. Don't just say, you know, F y'all. Like, don't do that. Don't ever burn bridges with a bus company. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. Don't ever do that. You never know what kind of a good thing you have left behind. So, I know it's kind of going a little bit long. But the good thing is though, with that Class B, with the air brake and passenger endorsement, if you get trained by a bus company, most bus companies won't put you on under a contract. Most bus companies won't have you pay so much out of pocket for the training and everything else under that experience. So you could just bounce, go look for another one. But good luck at the same time, because most bus companies that you really want to work for, that pays the most and has the best benefits and has the best schedules, it's hard to get into those unless you know somebody and you have that experience. So think about it. I've been doing this for a little while now. Like I said, I've had my commercial license for 4 years, and I had been through, you know, 3 bus companies. I'm in this I'm in this trucking school, and I'm starting to see more things. But don't just take my word for it. I just want you to think. Now, which one would I prefer? Me personally, as a father with 3 kids and a wife. For the record, let me just say this. There are some companies, trucking companies, that will give you that really nice schedule, really good schedule, and you don't have to go long haul over the road. There's companies like that, but they don't pay the most. They'll pay you much, much, much less than your average truck driver. Okay? So I would rather go with a bus company, because bus companies, even though they'll still put you to work, some bus companies actually pay very well. They do. So don't get it twisted. Don't think that bus drivers is for the birds. So you do your homework, do your math. Depending on how many comments I get for this video, I'll try to drop another one. Okay? You guys, be safe. You know, try to make the right decision and talk to your family. Talk to your family. The commercial driving world is nothing light. It really isn't. There has been a lot of people who go into these trucking businesses and busing, and they're away from their family for a long time, and just a matter of time until, you know, wifey or hubby wants to go find someone else, because you're not always at home. So just something to think about. Remember, it's not just really a career. It's about you, your life, and your family. Peace.